Washington State had a huge upset against USC last week, who was ranked 16. Now they move up in the polls at number 11 as we enter week 6.
And Oregon is just looking to almost bounce back after a very costly win against Cal last week, in which 9 of their players got injured. Oregon's strengths this week, especially with quarterback Justin Herbert out, are the running game. They have just over 1,300 yards of total rushing offense this season, something that is one of the top in the entire nation. Also, Oregon's extremely athletic defense is something that's really going to pay off with all of Washington State's receiving weapons and their just amazing receiving core. It's something that very, very few teams are able to match up against, and it's going to be one of the most interesting matchups this weekend and something to really keep your eye on if you're able to watch the game. Another one of Oregon's strengths is their diverse receiving core. They currently have 7 receivers that have over 100 receiving yards on the season, which is one of the most unique things about the University of Oregon offense, is how diverse they are.
Washington State brings a couple other things to the table. They have one of the best air raid offenses in the nation, coming in at second in passing yards with 414 yards per game. They also are very good at controlling the game, and they maintained possession of the ball for 35 minutes against USC, which ultimately came out to the deciding factor of that game, winning by a field goal, but still winning. And they have a strong receiving core as well. 4 of their receivers have over 260 yards each.
Washington State sure does have some weaknesses. Their rushing offense is one of the worst in the entire NCAA with only 81 yards per game. And this is also one of their very first away games of the entire season. Actually, I believe it is the first away game for Washington State this season, which will be extremely interesting to play. Autzen, Oregon always plays a lot better at home. It never rains at Autzen. So hopefully Oregon can bring some of that, Eugene magic to the game.
Well, it might rain on Oregon's parade this week. Herbert is out, leaving their third-string quarterback, who is a freshman, stepping into the rain of fire, and this is going to be a rush-reliant offense this game against the Washington State defense. They have another injury, wide receiver Dylan Mitchell, who is also critical to the Oregon offense, and a young, inexperienced secondary that continues to make little but rookie and disastrous mistakes at times. Plus, you have penalties. They average 93 yards per game in penalties. They're going to have to clean that up if they want to have everything they can going in their favor against Washington State.
Well, my key player for the game is the University of Oregon's just running core in general. If Royce Freeman does play, then he's going to be one of the most important players in the game. On the season, he has 592 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns, which currently leads the NCAA for rushing touchdowns. Oregon, as a just running backfield as a whole, as I said earlier, has just over 1,300 yards and 25 rushing touchdowns, which will be extremely important with our third-string true freshman quarterback in at play.
But when you have an extremely important rushing offense, you got to have someone on the opposite team who can stop it. My Washington State key player of the game is defensive end Hercules Mataafa, who has 19 total tackles for 4.5 sacks, and he's going to be critical when it comes to stopping the Oregon rushing game.
For sure, it's going to be really interesting to see how that matchup plays out.
So who are you going for, Griffin?
I might be a little biased, but I'm going to go for Oregon in a 31-24 win at Autzen.
Wow, that's pretty ambitious. I'm actually going to favor Washington State in this game. They've got Luke Falk, who's just been phenomenal this season, and I think Oregon's going to struggle without Justin Herbert. So it'll be interesting to see. They do have a strong rushing offense, but I think with an inexperienced freshman calling the shots, it could be trouble. Thanks for watching RedZone to EndZone. I'm Janae Muchmore, joined by special guest
Griffin Parkrose.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The social links are below. And be sure to check out our other games this week on the right-hand side of your screen. Have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.